Reading this book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I started reading it, and he presents a really fascinating, I guess, case, which is what if you just surrender to experience and surrender to life rather than trying to control things. And his experiment, and I'm not up to this part yet, but he basically creates like a million or I think billion-dollar business purely from operating on the principles of like surrender. And I think there's like you can think of it like there's a few different models. Like the model I think we are kind of in right now as a society is the hard work model. Like you must work hard, you must like achieve, and you must be always controlling. And that control is coming from like the fear or anxiety under the surface that things must go a certain way, or I need to get things done by a deadline. And then the surrender model that they're kind of presenting is really just surrendering to the flow of events as they unfold. And I'm still trying to figure this out in my life, or surrender to that flow. But I think maybe a good analogy here is it's like you're rowing a boat in a river, and it's going to be better if you allow the river to take you in the right direction rather than row against the current or go in like a slightly different direction or sideways direction. It's going to be better if you can kind of align it with the flow. And I think that's where the spiritual people have something right or they've figured something out, which is how can we align our state of being with some flow of the universe, whether that be universe or God, source, whatever you want to call it, but they've like kind of noticed something, noticed a pattern about like how can we align with this divine flow. And they've used all these words for it, which who knows if it's truly this God or how it's actually unfolding, but they've definitely noticed something. Um, so I think there's some truth there, but we just don't really have a. Not only do we, not only is it hard to comprehend, but it's hard to put a strong framework or label on it on how to actually surrender, because the whole point of it is paradoxically you can't really control it. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Gotta basically, you're rowing the boat analogy. You can't really control the tide nor I guess, the rocks that come through your way. So gotta swivel through.
Oh yeah, I think that also ties into like Western rationalism. Um, so like right now, I think as a society we're operating on um basically being rational, which I think is beneficial. It's not bad. Um, but it also comes with the deep-seated desire to know and to control. In other words, there's a part of it that is in opposition to surrender or opposition to flow. Because let's say we're creating a product or we want to do something, we place a lot of we place a lot of boundaries or barriers around it, saying we need to get it done by this date. It needs to be this way. We need to do it the right way. We need to manage everything and make sure that it goes in a certain direction. But that goes against creativity and flow as well. Because the more you try to control something, the less room it has to really flourish. I think the surrender experiment is talking about how if you are in a flow state all the time, what can you create? If you are just tapping into or harnessing that natural flow and natural creativity that we usually put barriers around because we think the barriers are needed because we think we need to get to that outcome. And I think what people have noticed is maybe you don't get to where you initially thought you would get to, but maybe the flow allowed you to move into a space or move into a place that was actually better or also equally beautiful.